My life was radically changed in 1969. In the spring of 1969, I was on campus at Northwestern University, and I met a group of young people that had a different quality of life than I did. And I didn't know what it was all about. It was Christianity. And this one young man, Conrad Cook, invited me over for popcorn one night, and he shared a little book that transformed my life. It basically said that God is not a genie like you have in Aladdin's lamp. He's not Santa Claus. He's the boss. And so the reason I'd been a Christian, I prayed to receive Christ at some point earlier in my life, but I'd always wondered why I didn't get answers to prayer. Why was it that other people were kind of first-rate Christians and I was a second-rate Christian? And what I got from that conversation with him was that God is the boss, you're the servant, not the other way around. We keep on thinking that somehow God is one who we can tell him what to do, when in reality, we're supposed to be responding to his will and to walking with him. So it just changed my life. And I was so excited about that. So I really got into Scripture, and I began to read everything I could about God and about in the Bible, etc. But as time went on, it just seemed somehow that the God that I saw revealed in Scripture and the idea of casting the majority of people into hell at some point forever just didn't seem to fit. But I'd never heard anything different than that. My father was a very good father. And I thought my father would never abandon me to anything. I mean, if I did something really bad, I knew that my father would be there and he would come with me to try to restore me in any possible way. But again, I'd never heard anyone ever speak of anything different than that. So then I was on Campus Crusade for Christ staff for about 4 years. At the end of that time, went to seminary. And again, it just bothered me, this whole idea of hell forever. And so at the end of my time there, the last semester, I thought, I'm just going to take that as a topic for a research paper. So I did. I looked around, I read a bunch of systematic theologies and a bunch of other things. Everything said the same thing, endless conscious punishment. And I was almost despairing when I thought, well, I'm just going to look one more time. So I went to the card catalog, opened it up, and there was this book that was written by a man named Edward Beecher in 1878, titled History of Opinions on the Scriptural Doctrine of Retribution. I thought, sounds like it's an interesting book. I opened up the preface of it, and in it he said, what I had initially planned on writing about, I'm not doing that anymore. My thinking has been changed as a result of my research. I thought, wow, what is this thinking what was it before and what did he change it to? And so I read the book, and basically he began to cite early Christian leaders, major leaders, Origen, Gregory of Nyssa, all these major Christian people at the beginning of the church who were in favor of universalism, that God was going to restore all of creation. I was excited when I read that. I thought, I'd never heard this before. Why hasn't anyone in the seminary ever told me that? Why didn't anybody at Campus Crusade ever tell me that? Why didn't anybody in any of the churches I had ever attended tell me that at one point a major view within the church, and according to some scholars, the dominant view, was that God would ultimately restore all of creation? I got excited about that. I wrote my paper. I got an A- on the paper. And then I thought, I just discovered something really exciting. So I've got to show this to some of the professors. So I did, and they all kind of patronized me and said, well, George, nice job. You're a student. You don't realize that in the intervening years, the church has come to understand that that's not correct. That Gregory of Nyssa, Origen, Clement of Alexandria, Theodore of Mopsuestia, all these early Christian leaders, they were incorrect in that particular view. And so since nobody ever wrote, I'd never read anything or heard anything that anybody else had ever come up with that idea, I just assumed that I was the only person in 20th century world that actually believed that the Bible was true and that God was going to restore all of creation at the end of time. And so I kept it as a private hope. And at different times I would share it with different people, especially people that had a real hard time with a relative that had passed away that was not a believer, that kind of thing. And then in 2007, I graduated from seminary in 1978. In 2007, I thought, I just need to revisit that issue and maybe update my paper so I can give it out to some more people. And so as I began to do some research, one of the things that existed then in 2007 that did not exist in 1978 was the internet. And I was able to actually read material that I would never have been able to get to unless I had gone to a major theological library like at Yale or Harvard or some major seminary somewhere. And so I found some information that was really exciting. And then I came across this one website, tentmaker.org, and it was by Gary Emerald. And on it, it said that he believed that God was going to restore the entire creation. And he believed in the Bible. And so I called him up and I said, hi, my name is George Sarris. I just came across your website. Do you believe that the Bible is true, but that God is going to ultimately restore all of creation? Yes. Wow. I found a person that believed the same thing that I did. I said, I thought I was the only person in the entire world in this century that believed that. Well, then I started doing some more research and found out that I was not the only person by any means, and that there was a lot of people that were looking into that issue, and that there was a lot more information about it. So I started to revise the paper, and it turned into a book, and ended up publishing that in 2017.